Hi there, thanks for checking this video. I'm Jackson Felden. Today is going to be all about how you can use Defender for Endpoint to do a deep investigation into a ransomware attack. I will show all the fancy controls when it comes to automated investigation, device isolation, app restriction, live response, and so on. Anyway, stay tuned and let me show you how it works. Okay, the first thing I want to do now is to dive into my virtual machine. I have here already a ransomware, and first let me try to run this ransomware to generate an alert, and then I will guide you all the steps in order to do a whole investigation. Okay, let's say now I'm playing an end user. Let me just drag and drop this file into the desktop in here. Let me copy, and then let me try double click to try to run that ransomware. Okay, the Defender for Endpoint running in this device already catch that as a malicious piece of software. Now, if I, just as a kind of end user, if I want to see what really happened a few seconds ago, if I open that, I can see in here a threat, actually is a severe threat, and I can actually expand, get some more details, and then finally I need to confirm in here, click in there. Yeah, now I have a better understanding in here. The time, the time the threat happens, and as you can see, the category here actually really doesn't look good, is ransomware. What's supposed to be with the icon invoice.pdf, actually it was really invoice.pdf.exe. The guy is trying to catch the end user. Okay, that's done pretty much from the end user. As you could see, the ransomware tried to run, but thanks to the Defender for Endpoint, nothing really big, happened because it was blocked. Now let me minimize this virtual machine for a second. Yeah, let me just, don't need that anymore. And let me now switch to the interface. Initially, I want to show how you can go deep into the investigation. Again, here I am at my security.microsoft.com. This is the place where Microsoft now is bringing all the fancy things regarding security. And then the place I can go is into the alerts. Usually it can take a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes in order to have that new alert in here. In my case, the alert is already here, past 5-6 seconds, the alert is in here already. It was flagged by Microsoft as median. And the interesting thing, because Microsoft flagged that kind of high risk, there is an automated investigation already running. I will show you in a few seconds. Now, for me to get a better investigation and to go deep into what's really happened, the best thing to do is just click on that alert. Of course, I've been playing with this virtual machine now. There are a couple of other things here as well, but then I can now go over the alert story, to understand what's really happening. Of course, let me go straight into the alert. If I go in here, again, the confirmation from the, from the user, the user, the folder, from where exactly that software tried to run, date, time, and so on. Now, let's say it was for the first time. I'm not too sure about this invoice pdf.exe. What I can do now is to go into, this piece of software, malware in this case. If I click in here on the open file page, let me just click in there. Now I'm doing a kind of, deep dive into this malware. Okay, in this case, actually is a ransomware. Later on, if I want to add this as an indicator, if you are not familiar with Defender for Endpoint, indicator actually is the place where we can whitelist or blacklist any, let's say, piece of software like this guy here. Okay, but before that, I want to show a couple of more things. In this case, I can see now in here on the alert, and then I could, just go into the alert as one more time. For me, it's very important, especially when it comes to a ransomware attack, to see if this case is only in an isolated device or maybe is already spreading in multiple devices. This is why what I can see in here quickly to answer this question is go observe in the organization. Click in there, and now for a moment, yeah, it's not that bad, but not great either. As you can see, I have 2 devices in here already affected by that ransomware, or at some stage the user tried to run that malware. My Windows 10 22 and my Windows 10 21 as well. Okay, for me now to get a better understanding, to understand exactly what this malware tried to do, this option here is great. If I click on deep analysis, actually let me try to click in there. If I click on the deep analysis, now I can send this file to Microsoft. Microsoft will open that into a sandbox, run all sort of tests, and then in a few seconds, few minutes, I would say, I will get a full report in regards all sort of connectivity, what are the external IP addresses this ransomware is trying to connect, for example, to give control to the, to the gang on the other side, what are all the files changed, what are all the registered changes, the full story I can get from here. So, here Microsoft says it might take, let's say, 3 hours in order to complete this routine. Based on my experience, usually is a couple of, minutes, depends, how big and how complex the file is. Could be, just a few minutes, 10 minutes max, based on what I've been, using so far. I think I'm getting there. Analysis, yeah, stage 3 of, 3 of 3. Okay. Just for me not to waste, let's say, too much of your time, here in waiting, I have a couple other things I can show. First of all, I could click on stop and quarantine this file straight away. I really don't want to give a chance for eventually, if this file is in other devices, to kind of, try to spread. And if I click on indicators, as quickly I already said, I can easily click in here and then create an alert. Okay, I could set an alert, not an alert, sorry, an exception for this software to run or to block only for the next, 30 days, or no, I don't want to have any expire date. Now I could say click on next, go to next stage, and here is very important, I have the option to block this software. In this case is a ransomware. I'm sure it's a ransomware now, and I really don't want to give a chance for any other user on my organization to be affected by that by this piece of ransomware. And then now here it's just kind of basic stuff. I need to add what is the alert title, and then I want to set most likely as a high severity as well. Could set a category, in this case a ransomware, and then eventually add some other recommended actions. This is important for the SOC team when they are kind of dealing with this software. And here, let's say yeah, let me keep simple, ransomware. And here, let's say again, ransomware attack, or threat, or something like that. Okay, that's fine. Now I can click on next, and then here very interesting as well. Eventually, if I have created some computer groups, I can set the scope and say, yeah, block this software only for the finance devices, or only for laptops, or only for servers, and so on. Of course, it's a ransomware. I want to make sure it doesn't run anymore on any devices. And then let me stick with the whole organization. Okay, and then click on save. Okay, that's very important, and I'm sure now if other users try to run this software, is not going to run at all, just to really play safe. Okay, as you can see, the analysis is still running. For me to try to buy a bit of time, I could now go and dive into the device. Okay, please remember, at the moment, up to now, I've been kind of working only on the invoice pdf.exe. Now I want to have a better understanding what's happening, or what has happened with the device from where the user tried to run this ransomware. Okay, let me go to device inventory, and then from here, as you can see, the device, my desktop, let's say Windows 10 23, was set as medium. Okay, let me go now dive into that particular device. And if I click in there, Very useful. I can see, you know, when was the last time this device had, you know, established any communication with the Defender for Endpoint. I can see here the users who have been kind of, you know, using this device, the exposure level, the risk level, and so on. Now, please remember, everything you are seeing now is specifically about a computer, a laptop called Windows 10 23. I can click on alerts now to see the whole story about the alerts related to this device, not only my last ransomware alert, but any other alert I can catch from here. And eventually, you know, if it's a ransomware and I really want to play safe, really useful, this button here on the top. I can now, in let's say 2 clicks, I can isolate this device. It means kick this device out from my network straight away, just to show how it works. And let me prove, you know, I still have here the full communication. Okay, this is my device 23, just pinging 8888, everything works fine. Now, if it's a kind of high alert and I really want to play safe, as you can see, I have already too many alerts. I'm kind of not comfortable in having this device connected to my network. I can now click on isolate device. Click in there. Now I have 2 options. I could, you know, just click and confirm the full, let's say, isolation, or I could, you know, allow my user, I'm going to isolate the device, but at least my user can still work on Outlook, Teams, and Skype. In my case, I really want to play safe, and I'm going to kick this device completely off. Let's say investigation on, let's say, on the way or something like that. Okay, that's fine. Let me click on confirm. And now usually takes, you know, really just a few seconds. Yeah, you know, maybe 2 seconds. And now the end user got here a quick message and the device is fully off the network. Of course, not really fully. This is done via Windows Firewall. And what's really happened is the device, there is a couple of new firewall rules where the only communication allowed at the moment is between my device in the Defender for Endpoint backend service, because of course at some stage I want to push that configuration back and allow this device to come back to the network again. Okay, this is something nice, you know, I can do if I, you know, I'm kind of not comfortable in leaving that device. Okay, after I still need to guide you over the whole investigation, but by the time I'm okay, you know, I don't find any other signs of this ransomware, and then I could come here and say, yeah, you know what, it's time to bring this user back to the network again. Click on release, can say, you know, oops, just typed too fast. Okay, let's say, oops. Oh, good, you know, all clear, that's fine. Click on confirm. Now, same story. If I go back to my device, yeah, fully back in business again. Another thing useful you can do is the following. First, let me show you. Everything works fine. You know, I can run any Microsoft apps. I can run third-party apps. Like in this case, I'm running Google Chrome. Another action the SOC team, you know, can take as well, or whatever is looking after the alerts, is restrict app execution. Okay, as you can see, this button, basically this option allow us to make sure this device doesn't run any other app unless they are Microsoft signed app. Okay, and again, in case of a ransomware trying to spread and trying to basically encrypt the files, by the time I click on that button and say, I can, you know, same story. Oops, oh my goodness. Sorry about that. Let me just go back again. Just need to make sure I click on that first. Okay. Okay, investigation on the way. Let me confirm. Now, if I go back to my device, it should be ready. If I try to run, oh yeah, now I just got a quick message. If I try to run any piece of software that is not Microsoft, for example, Google Chrome, yeah, it doesn't run. I have another PDF reader here. If I try to run, okay, it should be blocked. Okay, again, just to play safe, I really don't want any sort of software running on the background until I finish my investigation. Okay, when I'm happy with that, I can come in here and click on basically, remove the app restriction. Just let me click in here, okay. Oh, good, kind of, back in business. And now, same story, let me just wait a few seconds. If I go back to my device, let me try now, double click. And then, as you can see, the user is back in business again. Okay, another feature, the SOC team or whatever, who is looking after the device can take advantage. Okay, another thing we can do as well, in my case, from the alert, I could see Microsoft managed to kind of block the ransomware. The ransomware kind of, really didn't run or didn't, let's say, happen. But to play safe, I could come here and say, why not to run a full, scan to make sure nothing is left behind, okay? Or could run a quick scan as well. Okay, another big one I can do, in my case, when I'm supporting some enterprise companies out there, and if the alerts are a bit complex, ransomware and those things, what we can do is start basically in here, okay, initiate an automated investigation. Okay, automated investigation, Microsoft will go deep and run a full analysis on registry key, on every single file, every single folder, absolutely everything, and will give you the full picture. Based on my experience in a kind of laptops running out there, usually it takes between kind of 35 to 50 minutes in order to run that. Let me do that, and then a few minutes I will show what is the result, okay? Again, depends the severity level. Microsoft will initiate an automated investigation automatically, okay? You don't need to do anything, just check the results. And otherwise, if that doesn't happen, the SOC team can start that manually. Actually, before push the button, let me show if that maybe is already running. Okay, the only thing is here from the new portal, from the security.microsoft.com, we really don't have, by the time I'm recording this video, this option is not available. And then what I need to do is go to the old portal. Okay, the old portal, as you can see here on the top, securitycenter.microsoft.com. And from here, I can go over, that's the place, automated investigation to get all the results. Let me click in there, and actually, that's fine. Basically, I don't need to start a manual automated investigation because the ransomware is something severe enough, I could say. And the good news is Microsoft actually started that automatically, okay, for me. Now is already good news, it's fully remediated. I actually, don't need to do anything. But what I can do now is do a kind of deep dive into that to see, to get the full picture. Okay, if I click in there, that's really useful, top class what Microsoft is doing. Okay, in this case, of course, it's pretty much is an empty virtual machine, not too many files, no Office, kind of pretty much a blank virtual machine, and then it took only 11 minutes. As quickly I said, based on my experience on production, let's say laptops, usually is between 30 to 50 minutes, but again, depends, how fast the device is. Okay, from here, the full picture, the ransomware is Genason ransomware, okay, was prevented. Right now, only on my device number 23. That's a kind of, good news. It's not spreading, or it was not found on other devices yet, that's good. And then the whole picture here, 1,803 files, checked in process and so on. And now it's saying 2 entries found. If I keep running in here, I can now go again and check what is the alert related, to this attack. How many devices on my company at the moment, got that alert as well. Only one. That's always, is a good news. And here, basically, the evidence. Okay, 2 files were good news, remediated and prevented, from here. And the big one is the invoice.pdf, .exe. But, good news, prevented, not a big deal. I can click in here on the entries and then see the full picture, as I already, said, all the files, processes, IDs, everything that was analyzed in those last 11 minutes. And then from here, the full log as well. If you really want to play safe, from here saying, yeah, let me just double check if there is any other invoice.pdf.exe in that machine, okay? Based on my experience, I've done that so many times up to now. When you see here prevented or remediated and so on, Microsoft makes sure the file is deleted, from the source device. But just to double check, let me show how I can do that. Okay, invoice.pdf.exe, that's, the main thing. Now what I can do is, if I go back, okay, anyway, just to finish this bit, okay, this is all about the automated investigation. And if it's something, let's say something big, as you could see, Microsoft does that automatically for you. It's always good for the SOC team to go back, to the results, to do a kind of, to an analysis, but Microsoft will really give you the full picture. And as I was showing you a few seconds ago, eventually, if the malware or ransomware was prevented, but Microsoft didn't start the automated investigation, as I was saying, the SOC team could easily come here. Okay, please remember, I'm back to the device again, just click in here and then eventually start the investigation manually. Okay, in this case I didn't have to do because Microsoft already did for me. Okay, if the SOC team thinks, okay, let's double check if that invoice.pdf.exe is still on the device or not. What we can do now is initiate a live response. This is another top class, great feature. Now what I can do is to open basically a console into that device, and then there is a bunch of commands I can run, find process, find files. I can even, from here upload a PowerShell script eventually, to run a full checkup, from there. Okay, for me as a peace of mind, what I can do is, by the way, all the commands, if you're wondering what are the available commands, just type help, and then we have a bunch of things in here. What I want to do is find file, and then I'm looking for that invoice.pdf.exe. If I have a good memory, that's the name, and then click in there. Okay, in my case, I need to tell you in advanced, I created from the antivirus, I created an excluded folder, because otherwise I would never be able to have that invoice pdf.exe on my device. This is why what I did is I created an exclusion into that excluded folder. That's the only reason the file is still in there and was not deleted, because I did that exclusion. Otherwise, based on all my real life experience, when I do that, when Microsoft says, yeah, file prevented, file remediated, I tried so many times the find file, and I never found the file because Microsoft deletes in advance. But anyway, again, the SOC team can be trained in this tool, and in order to kind of just make sure nothing was left behind, we can use quickly in here the find file. We can stop processes and so on, and as quickly I said before, you could upload your own PowerShell script as well in order to check some other configuration as well. Okay, that's good. Now let me do something. Let me just go back to my device, and then from here, now I have here my device 23. If I click in there, and another thing we can use now is the Go Hunt. Okay, I'm talking now about the advanced hunting, and I want to show one more thing I usually do when I'm helping the SOC team. From here we can basically build some queries in order to query pretty much anything. Okay, talking about ransomware, especially when it comes to the human operated ransomware. Of course, the gang, when they manage to get access to a device, what they do is to try to downgrade the security level, and then they will stop services, they will make sure the antivirus is disabled, they will delete logs as well, to avoid any tracing. And then in here I have log detection. A quick query I'm doing in here is to see around my organization in any of my devices at some stage if anyone, manually or throughout a third-party tool, if anyone has the logs deleted. And then, I'm checking here for the last 30 days, if there was at least, once the logs, they were deleted using, any tool, and the CL here means, clear the logs. Okay, let me see what's happening there. If I click in there, kind of, not really good news. It looks like 2 devices on my organization, at some stage, the logs, they were deleted. Again, in a human-operated ransomware, maybe 2 is not that, that bad, but, it's always to have a look and go deep into an investigation. But if you keep seeing here more and more devices where the logs, are deleted, and then is really not a good news. As you can see now on my device 23, where that ransomware basically tried to run a few seconds ago, as you can see, all the logs pretty much are gone. At some stage, application log was deleted, the security log was deleted, the setup and the system from the event log are all gone. And then again, as quickly I said, if that is happening, and you check and the user is not deleting, and then definitely we need to go and do a deep analysis. Of course, from here I just got from Microsoft these multiple signs of ransomware activities. And again, if there are devices out there where the task kill was used to kind of kill some tasks, if the net use was used to, for example, make sure the antivirus services doesn't start, next time when the device, boots, and all of those things related to ransomware, if they are happening in my organization, I can click in here. Let me run this query to see, what's happening. Yeah, in my case, because here's a proper comprehensive script I got from Microsoft. That's a good news for my, let's pretend, organization, just my lab, but anyway, let's say for my organization. And then that's kind of good news. Some fancy things like nobody has been deleting internal backups and shadow copies and so on. But if you get any device or a couple of devices out from this query, oh my goodness, then is really a high alert that you should go back and do a proper investigation, isolate those devices from there. Okay, I believe that's the kind of the main things I wanted to show. Now, just before I finish, I could, from here, from the device point of view, the other things I do when kind of, helping the SOC team, training the SOC team, is from this device 23, a ransomware, try to run from there. Why not to have a look about the missing patches? Okay, if I come here, as I already, happened with me, come here in some of the clients' the devices, and there are too many patches out of date, that's really, is a bad news, and we should work, on that device, make sure all the patches are fully installed. I could come here as well, see all the software inventory, get list, and, it's not looking that bad. But if you see here the threat, maybe on that device, there is a very old Office running with, missing so many updates. We will see here a red in the threat as well. Yeah, anyway, I can have a full, let's say a full picture in terms of all the applications running on those devices. And if there is actually any threat coming from those applications, especially especially the old ones. And another thing I can do as well here to get a full X-ray from this particular device, 23 in my case, if I click on the timeline, yeah, now usually takes a couple of seconds, couple of minutes, seconds I would say, in order to have a full X-ray what has been happening on that device, and then understand all the communication to external IP addresses. If the user, if they are using Teams, using Word, using maybe some other applications I never seen, I can just go down now and see everything, absolutely everything in regards registry key, files, external communication, and so on. Of course, we can filter here, to get exactly the timing I'm looking for, and eventually from there, if I'm seeing some kind of weird communication from to some public IP addresses, that could be a good alert as well for me to go deep and do investigation. Okay, now what I want to do is click on alert again. Just let me go back to that file in here. Okay, and then let me open, just need to finish something, open the file page again and go to deep analysis. Okay, is it still, okay, yeah, the results are loading. Okay, please remember, a few seconds ago I told you, basically if it's an unknown malware or ransomware, whatever is the threat, you can send to Microsoft, and this is absolutely brilliant. I could come here and click on contacted IP addresses, and then basically see all the IP addresses that application try to connect. In my case, as you can see, is not a big deal. I need to do a better investigation into the 93, 23, and so on, because those files, those public IP could be exactly the gang behind this ransomware attack, trying to take control of my device, and eventually start stealing some files from there as well. Here I can understand if there is any kind of dropped file. My goodness, if you look in here, yeah, basically by the time I run that invoice PDF, the system actually was about to drop. Of course, it was blocked by Microsoft, but it will the system tried to drop a malware.exe and then the invoice PDF and some other files as well, exactly to allow one more time the gang based on a malware ransomware operated by a gang to connect my device and eventually take control, and then eventually other so many other basically information I have in here. What are all the kind of registry key they're trying to create or change and so on, things maybe some process they are trying to inject into my into my system and so on. Of course, now I could basically spend a good amount of time, a good time in here to understand exactly what that particular threat is about. Really interesting. I've been using that quite a lot when helping companies out there, and this is what I want to show. If eventually there is an attack, there is an alert, the alert was remediated by Microsoft, or you are not too sure, these are the tools you can use. As I already showed, go into the automated investigation to see the whole picture behind that attack. You can push the button to do the device isolation, okay, to make sure that device doesn't communicate with anybody else, to avoid a proper ransomware in spreading. You could as well push the button to do the app restriction, okay, to make sure none of the apps actually can run on that device, apart of the Microsoft. And if you want to go deep to see if the malware, the ransomware, all that piece of code was really deleted from the system, as I showed before, you can always go to the live response, and then from there open a kind of terminal into the device, and then check the services, upload files, scripts. You can find the files, delete files, and so on. Anyway, this is what I have for today. Hopefully you are walking away now with a better understanding about Defender for Endpoint. If you enjoyed this video, please give a like, subscribe my channel, and all the best. Thanks again for watching.